Okay, well here we are, moving on. Step number 22's review. This one's called The Sevenfold Path to the Obvious Signs, the methodology that took us out of the Dark Ages. This one's primarily about getting unstuck in the areas of health, wealth, love, and happiness, and making progress through mass experimentation. A lot of people perhaps are still walking around with the black and white or archaic mind that Ty talks about us avoiding. And you know, as recently as even 500 years ago, people were convinced that the Earth was the center of the universe. But fortunately, there were some astronomers that looked up to the sky and were truth seekers and saw through the stars that the Earth is not the center of the universe. And you would think that they would be praised for this new finding, but they were actually threatened and threatened to be burned at the stake and threatened with heresy because they were going against modern views. And you want to avoid one of the 25 cognitive biases in particular, and that's number 5. And that says, that's the commitment and consistency bias, and it says we feel more secure by not experimenting and just picking sides. And I've learned that if you can learn to love experimenting, you already separate yourself from 99% of the Earth, because 99% of the Earth seems to be doing the same old and expecting different results. And you know, there's an old expression, if you want to make some changes, you got to make some changes. And another more modern way of saying that I heard at a Dan Pena seminar is more of the same will only give you more of the same. And one person that is the pinnacle of embracing the truth, according to some of his co-workers, is Jeff Bezos. If you read his book, The Everything Store, one of his employees named Dalzell says, Jeff Bezos embraces the truth. A lot of people talk about the truth, but they don't engage their decision-making around the best truth at the time. In other words, a lot of people are suffering from moral satiation, where talking about the truth but not taking any action is how they go about life. But positive words count, but positive action is what moves the needle. So Ty asks you to run an experiment in your life that will first start with an observation. He asks you to run an experiment in each of the 4 areas of the good life, the 4 pillars: health, wealth, love, and happiness. He says for your health experiment, stand in front of the mirror and ask yourself, would someone be attracted to this physique? If the answer is yes, that's wonderful. If the answer is no, first accept that fact and then determine what are some things that I can do to change my physique? Because you're certainly probably not born looking like a supermodel. Most of us aren't by definition, but there are a lot of things that you can control in your own personal life. Regarding wealth, he asks you, look at your bank account. Is this the result I want? Certainly being rich or poor financially isn't good or bad, but certainly having more money in your bank account gives you options and reduces your levels of stress and panic that you may have going on. In the area of social, ask yourself, is your social life, friends, family, and romance where you want it to be? If not, what experiment can you run today to try to tweak things? In the happiness area, happiness pillar, he asks, do you tap dance out of bed? Or are you thinking, man, I wish it was Friday, or I hate Mondays? And the main takeaway here is stop saying what's good or bad. Instead say, this action either moves me efficiently toward my goal, or this inefficiently moves me towards my goal. And cut out the things that move you inefficiently towards your goals. And how do we move efficiently toward our goals? Through the 7-step method. And here it is. Step number 1, ask yourself a question. For example, am I healthy? Am I wealthy? Things like that. Step number 2, research the answer to that question. Step number 3, from that research, make a hypothesis. Step number 4, test it for a while, usually 1 to 3 months. Step number 5, observe the results. Step number 6, step back and analyze what you've observed. And most importantly, step number 7, Ask smart people to review the 6 steps you did and give you their opinion. Again, this falls back onto making war with a multitude of counselors. And you can call all these tests that you're running, you can call all these tests you're running experiments. This will give you an emotional forgiveness to try again. You don't want to call these failures. It's only a failure if you just keep doing something that's not moving you towards your goal over and over and over again. You know, Ty explains that one of his friends is a fitness model and had to always look good for photo shoots, and he always did. But one day Ty met up with him and noticed that he kind of looked like hell. And Ty asked him what he had changed, and he said, I switched to the fruitarian diet and I've been on it for too long. So that was more than an experiment. Really, that moved from an experiment into failure because it was moving him away from looking healthy, and he just kept doing it. So more of the same was only giving him more of the same. And this whole lesson's all about just taking action and running experiments. One of my favorite quotes from Tai Lopez is, whoever runs the most experiments in life wins. And he suggests that you should run 100 experiments a year. That approximates to about 2 a week. And I've been trying to run 100 experiments this year. I've up to about 15, and so far it has been a wonderful year. Every experiment I've tried, I've been so glad I tried it, and things worked out a lot better than I ever thought they would. And so I'm trying to purposely be an experimentalist, and the opposite of that is a cynic. You know, people think that things like this Tai Lopez program and other online kind of guru educational programs that you can buy are scams, but the people who think things are a scam have never tried it. And Eckhart Tolle says in The Power of Now, any action is often better than no action. And if you practice experimentation, you'll never get stuck because you'll always be making progress. And the questions at the end of this lesson are, in your health, wealth, love, and happiness pillars, how have you been stuck in the black and white mind? And what's an experiment you can try in each of these areas? Thanks so much. I'd love to read your comments below this video if you're getting a lot out of this. And give me any tips on improving these videos, and I'll be happy to run that experiment. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on step number 23. Take care.